everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ms.Esquire Podcast. We're excited that you're joining us today. But I always like starting explaining a little bit about what Ms.Esquire really is. It started as a community just for women attorneys, which has now grown to 11,000 people. But today we also have a community of business professionals. And the idea is that in community we can grow and scale further.
The Ms.Esquire Podcast is going to feature both our attorney and non-attorney chapter members to give us all tips and tricks on growing our business.
Yeah, and if you're interested in getting more information or coming to one of our meetings or joining, please email us at admin@Ms.Esquire.com. And this episode could not be possible without our two incredible sponsors, one of which is Littler. Littler is a employment law firm. It's actually the largest in the world. It has offices throughout the entire country and worldwide. And we have two incredible attorneys that are from that group, both Cheryl Colombo in the Miami office and Rocio, who is also an attorney at Littler.
I also want to thank our sponsor, Professional Interpreting Associates, which offers both interpreting and translating services for various fields to provide effective communication. This company is owned by our very dear member, Pat Gutierrez, who is a member of both Fort Lauderdale 2 and the West Broward chapter. Professional Interpreting Associates has a reputation for providing precise, accurate, and timely services and has earned its reputation for every word counts.
Amazing. I'm super excited today for our episode with Ciara. I don't know if you want to introduce her.
Sure. Ciara Gravier is a founder and CEO of the Bunker Insurance and Risk Management. She has over 15 years of insurance experience providing clients with creative solutions to more effectively manage their total risk. She specializes in commercial property and casualty insurance placement for middle market companies. She is also an incredible member of the Fort Lauderdale 1 chapter. She's one of our original members.
Yes.
And she also has her own podcast, called The Bunker Talk. She is a gracious host on there, and she's hosted Raza and I.
Yes. I'm actually really excited that we get to have you on our podcast.
You literally, you gave me too much credit saying I hosted. You guys were like one of my first victims, really. So
You're one
thank
of our
you.
first victims. So I guess we wanted to let you know.
But this setup is way better. This is stunning.
We
So
love you.
I'm excited to be here. This is great.
I'm excited. So this podcast really, Ciara, so you have an idea, it's really for business professionals, not just attorneys. Mm-hmm. And I always like saying, I had a conversation with my dad and my brother once, and they were like, the overnight success really takes 20 years. So, the song, it started from the bottom, now we're here. So I thought it would be so awesome to always start our podcast with talking about what do you think is the most important or instrumental seed that you planted to get where you are today?
That's such a good question, because I think that even we forget, right? Maybe sometimes we feel like this is taking too long.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing wrong that it's taking me so long to get where I want to go? So I think that's a really valid question. And for me, I have a similar dad. I know your dad is like super hardworking and came to this country just like my dad. And so my dad always gave me the premise or the foundation of you have to get educated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to do the work behind the scenes to be taken serious.
Yeah.
And I feel like similar with you. And so I would say I did that, even though like insurance isn't a thing where, I'm not going to law school for a bajillion years or anything like that. It is, yes, it's just a license that you can get. But I decided to do a couple extra things to get some designations. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my industry is very old and male. Yeah. So I wanted to, my dad always just told me, if this is going to be your career and you're going to be here, set yourself apart and do the extra work so that you not only get the tactical knowledge, but also you're recognized for putting in that work. So I think that's tactily, that's one of the ways that I did it. I was able to invest in getting some designations to set myself up apart, especially being younger too, because this is such an old industry. So I would say that it's they always say knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So, just gain as much knowledge as you can. Not to the point where you don't take action, right? Because then knowledge without being used is also kind of useless. So I would say, I think it's that. I think it's putting in the work to be qualified. And Trish said that once about imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. We had a conversation about imposter syndrome.
Don't worry, you will never outwork me.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, if you're the hardest working person in the room, if you're the person that's always prepared, even if it takes 20 years,
But I think that I agree, though, that those letters after your name, and don't downplay those letters,
Yeah.
because it gives you the legitimacy.
Right.
100%. But tell me a little bit about, so obviously I know your backstory, but maybe everybody else doesn't. How did you get into insurance, which, as you mentioned, is not the sexiest thing, to say that you do. But tell me a little bit about how you got into it, how you started. I mean, you obviously didn't always want to be an insurance agent. I don't think so.
No.
What did you want to be? I don't really think
I was
know
actually,
this.
I was going to the Art Institute for Interior Design.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
And so my parents worked for corporate America all of their life. My dad at UPS, my mom worked for Equifax. Like her first job out of high school was
Yeah.
Equifax. And in their late 40s, my dad was 49, my mom was 47. They were tired of working for someone else. And they just never sold insurance, never owned a business.
Wow.
Said we're gonna do it, took money out of their 401k and did it. And we opened an Allstate office and I was actually really upset. Like they pulled me
bet.
out of school. I didn't get a scholarship, so like I was at the time it was BCC, but that's how old I am. It's not BCC anymore, but so I got my associate's degree and I was going to the Art Institute for my bachelor's, and I didn't get a scholarship and they couldn't afford to send me anymore. And
Yeah.
so my dad was like, well, listen, all hands on deck here
Yeah.
to make this business grow. We're risking everything.
Yeah.
And so I was mad for a really long time. I was very upset. And so my dad's also always kind of been like, some people might think pessimist, I think realistic. And he told me, listen, Ciara, he told me, you're good, you have an eye, but you weren't born in that circle. And a
Wow.
lot of success in life is who you know.
Wow.
So this career of insurance, it's not fun, you don't love it, but this is a career that is recession proof. You don't need a social circle to start. Like, you can make something really, really good of yourself. Here, try it. And then on top of that, he's always right. So I believed him. I finally got over it and I believed him. And he was right.
Oh my God. My husband, if he's watching this, he is
A
the
realist?
king. He's always like, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist. I'm like, yo, your dad and my dad cannot meet. You know what I mean? Because that would just be, no. But so I think one thing that I did know that obviously your parents were in insurance. One thing that I've loved is that you've had to, as you mentioned earlier, set yourself apart. And when insurance started, when your dad started, it's different than when you've taken over and started the bunker. So tell us a
100%.
little bit about what you've done to set yourself apart. And most importantly, also not only, but you've had to navigate new waters and come up with new ideas and be a visionary in different spaces. So I love that about you. So I would love for people to kind of know, I think in every business you have to reinvent yourself.
Right.
And how do you stand out from 700 other
Right.
people that sell insurance, right?
I think that it's so funny because I have this conversation with my dad probably once a month because he tells me, Ciara, what you're doing is hard. Even your initial question of the 20-year success,
Yeah.
it takes long to build a business.
100%.
I saw a clip on Instagram from Kevin, the Shark Tank guy.
Yeah.
The mean one.
Yeah.
Kevin. And somebody was asking him about building a business and he said, this is the hardest thing anyone ever has to do. Most people cannot.
It's true.
It's
Or
so
they fail.
They fail.
Right.
So, and it's only a failure if you don't try again, right?
Yeah.
But even people that have a bajillion dollars, it's hard.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I just remind myself is that you're not doing something wrong. It's just hard.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So one of the things that my dad told me, Ciara, this has changed. The business landscape has changed so much. Before, you just have to be a good person, return people's phone calls, right? Be a good person in the community.
Know your neighbor. Nobody
No.
knows their neighbor anymore.
Right. Nobody even walks into my office anymore when
Right.
people used to, when
Right.
we had the Allstate office and things like that. And now the way the internet has come in, it has changed everything in business.
Yeah.
Everything. And so he told me, even before we started with the social media thing and making the content, he told me, Ciara, you need to become an expert, you need to get a niche, and you need to become a public speaker. And I was like, there's no way I'm ever doing that. I never saw myself doing that, but he knew. He was like, you have to differentiate yourself.
Right.
And he was right. And he's always right. So the lesson is listen to your dad.
It's a good lesson. And I'm glad you brought up the public speaking because, when we first met you 4 years ago,
Yeah.
you
You guys-
said, one of my greatest fears is really getting
Yeah.
up and talking in front of people. And
Yeah.
not even just the big stages that you're on now,
No.
but just a room full of people.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to see how you've grown. And if you could just tell us how you went from having that fear to being on national stages now.
I would say one of the things too, like you guys have definitely been there since the beginning, but also being a part of a community like Ms.Esquire that forces you to do these things, right? Don't you remember the first meetings, how they were very emotional. And I think it was because we were a smaller group at the time, but they were very like vision board and like where do you see yourself? What do you want out of?
Like we used to have an activity where we would talk about the 3 things we wanted to let go.
Yes.
We would be like 50 pounds, but also being an alcoholic, you know, like it just really like,
It was
okay.
like, I mean, we cried at some of them.
Yes, we did. We need to bring that back, though. I feel like it's important.
It is important, but it's harder when there's so many people in the room to be that vulnerable. But it really was. It really, being a part of a community like this kind of forces you to do those things, right?
Yeah.
I have to stand up and say, what am I looking for? What do I do? And honestly, for someone that's not an attorney, it's intimidating to stand up in front of a room of attorneys, right? Like it's not, you guys are used to like this.
No, we're not.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because I would say even though our room is 80% attorneys, 20% non-attorneys, still half of the attorneys are non-litigation attorneys. So they don't actually go in front of a room. But what I love about the dynamic, and I learned from you, I love it. It's like, first off, I always say, like, you don't want to be the smartest person that walks into the room. You want to be surrounded by people that are smarter than you, right? And I think everybody, whether it's like the business professional, the person that's been practicing for a long time, they have things to give. You know, like we all learn from things that have worked. And watching you, which has been pretty awesome for Trisha and I, like seeing you from the very beginning to where you are now, like when you got on that progressive, I don't know what stage it was, but when you got to interview the progressive CEO, right? I was like, you go girl, you know, because the fact that you would stand up in a room 4 years ago, I mean, people say their vision and their dream, but not everybody's willing to do it. And like, that's the one thing I love about you is that like you said it, and when you say it out loud in a room filled with people, like there's a higher chance you're actually going to try.
Accountability.
But you did it.
There's
you know?
like a science to that too, of like writing your goals down every day. And I remember I used to write down every day that I was going to speak on a stage, even though I had that fear. And so I think that the community matters. Having the people around, like you guys and the whole community of Ms.Esquire, it's so supportive. And even though obviously I'm in insurance and there are different stages and different crowd, everything's different, but really you can feel the support, right? When you're doing those things. There is a piece of it to, I think Trish said it, of the accountability too. Like I said it, now someone's going to ask me, did you do it? Right? I can't come back into
this room. Where you at in that speaking gig you got?
I can't come back into this room and say, no, I was too scared. Right? And at the end of the day, it's just, I've also learned, like, what is literally the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
True. That's very true.
That's why I said we were going to launch a podcast. You know, I had to say it out loud. She's like, stop announcing things. Like, I have to say it.
I mean, I get
legitimate, right?
She's like, we have no plan for that. I was like, oh, there will be one.
Trish is like, Rise is like, well, no, you don't have a plan.
Exactly.
But even this relationship, right? It's so good because you guys are so opposite. So you feed off of each other too, right? And the other one will pick the other one up or force or remind, hey, you said this, you know, these are our plans. It's necessary to do this in community. Business alone is nearly impossible.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, obviously we talked about like one of the biggest accomplishments is getting to interview the progressive CEO, but how did you start? Like, what was the first speaking engagement? How did you get it? What did you do to get it? I've actually never had one on a big stage or anything. Like, I've been asked to be in panels and stuff and different things for like bar associations, but never to that scale. So what was your, like, if somebody wanted to start today, what did you do?
So the first thing I did, actually, my mentor was the one that, the first time I spoke, it was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got told, hey, I volunteered you for this.
You like, voluntold.
I got voluntold. I didn't have a chance to say no.
Right.
And when I got the message, I was like, there's no way. I was like, no, like, you guys don't understand. I don't know my B&I commercial. Like, I can't do this. And then I was finding out well, what do you want me to talk about? They're like, whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, God.
And I said, and they were like, I was like, okay. And for how long? Well, 60 minutes.
That's a long time to talk.
60 minutes is a long time.
That's a long time.
By yourself.
And
talking at people.
So was this an insurance conference?
So this was the first time?
My first time ever. No speaker.
No teleprompt?
Like, what is that called?
Teleprompter?
Yeah. None. And I had to memorize it. I worked on that presentation for like 9 months.
What was it about?
Branding your agency to be different.
Oh, wait, I think you did that in
I did the little
thing.
version
Not
of that.
60 minutes, yeah.
No, yeah.
You
I
did it in
that
our group.
Yep. So it was.
Didn't you practice that first in our group? You're
I
like,
think so.
I think so.
I think
might
you said I
have.
want to practice this
I might
before
have.
I do it nationally.
I think so. I
That's
think
awesome.
so. And it was wild. And so the thing is that after,
It's like a TED Talk.
a really long one. 60 minutes is a long time to talk.
Right.
But after, I thought to myself, and it still happens to me, which is wild, that like when I'm on stage, I almost forget pieces of it.
Of course.
Like I think it's adrenaline.
right.
My adrenaline is running.
Yeah.
And then when I get off stage, I'm like dead. Like I need to go take a nap.
Of course.
So it's like, it really still, I think it still like stresses me out internally. But that first time I spoke, the crowd was incredible. They were so supportive.
That's great.
And I think that that's part of it too. Like
Yeah.
realize that most people won't do that.
Oh,
Well, that and
how
also,
many people were in the room?
Probably about 150.
Okay, yeah.
And also, I mean, once you embrace and recognize that you're the expert in the room
Right.
on that topic, especially if you are able to pick your own topic, that had to have provided some sort of comfort level.
Right. One of the guys in the room, and I'll say too, one of the guys in the room said that, like, if you're ever, like, don't feel confident in a subject, speak on it because you'll become the expert because you'll study it.
Oh, that's
Right.
good.
And then after that time I spoke, there were so many people in the audience, and there were people that are so far ahead of me in business that sat there not looking at their phones,
great.
listening to me, and like head nodding. And I never, obviously, because I had never been on that side of it, I never realized how important it is to be a good audience member.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I remember thinking to myself, you have to do better when you attend these things
Wow.
to be an engaged audience member, because it settled me. Just having people look at me and say like, oh, okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
that make it, like, either if the crowd is nodding, you know it's hitting.
Right.
Right.
If people are talking or on their phones or disengaged,
more nervous,
it
right?
makes you more nervous.
Right.
Or it lets you know maybe they're
You're
not,
losing
maybe it's,
them.
I'm losing them, right? So I think personally, even for me, like being a better audience member, I try really hard that even if I have to do something on my phone, I'd rather get up and like leave the room than sit there on my phone, and like, I feel like it gives the impression that like I'm bored.
Right.
So I would say that. The mentorship is huge though, right? Because if I wouldn't have invested in myself, I wouldn't probably be down this path, and I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity, right? So I got the opportunity, and I just couldn't say no. I couldn't make him look bad for volunteering me, right?
Right.
I wasn't going to make him look bad. And then it's just like, again, what's the worst that could happen?
And
If
also
I would have
be-
flopped, okay.
Right.
It
And at
was
least
4
you
years
tried,
ago.
And you were like, you know what, I did it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it again. And in actuality, I like it. Like I feel like I have something valuable to say, and I'm helping people. So, you know, it's not as bad. It's definitely not as bad as you think, or it feels initially. Like those minutes before getting on stage, it is a little like, please don't trip walking up the stairs. Like, you're just mortified, or like
Yeah.
the PowerPoint, like being
Oh, right.
Oh, not
God.
working or something? You just go like
Oh,
right off.
like if I had to say it off the top of my head, I don't know. I haven't had to do that yet, so
Thankfully.
thankfully.
Hopefully that'll never happen to
I
you.
know.
You need a backup
That's-
just in case.
I feel like I need to. I feel like I would make it once I can give a presentation for that long without a slideshow.
Yeah.
You know, because then you really own the sub. My slides are really good, so I feel like I rely on them a little bit
Yeah.
still.
Well, I think also the audience needs that interaction. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
like to see something, because people are visual.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about too, it's like agency branding, so it's good. It's illustrative, I guess you can say. So, it was great. By the time I got to Trisha to interview the other Trisha, I know. I'm sorry.
Beautiful interview.
was I the CEO of Progressive?
I mean, she was great, and it was an incredible experience to be on stage, especially in my industry. Like I said, it's very male dominated, so it was cool just to see one of 10% of Fortune 500 CEOs
Wow.
being a woman.
Right.
And just she's super down to earth, and one of the things that I learned from our interview that she said, which has made an impression on me, is when someone sees something in you that you don't see, believe them.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, man, that is so powerful,
That's great.
right? Like, if someone's telling you that you're good at something and you're the only one that doesn't think so,
Right.
maybe you should just try being good at it and like try.
I love it.
So I think that that's kind of now my MO too. Like, try it. If I'm not good at it, okay.
Yeah.
Now, since your presentation was on branding, let's talk a little bit about like marketing and networking. And marketing is kind of when a company sells their product or services to a mass audience, and I think networking is more about the personal connection.
Yeah.
So what have you found that has led you to scale your business?
I think I'll say Ms.Esquire has taught me this, even within the attorney relationship. As a person that is not really, I don't have any attorneys in my family. I learned being in Ms.Esquire that there's litigators and non-litigators. I didn't realize that, right?
We gave her one piece of
No, so it's fascinating to me too, because I think I'm just the general public that's not around attorneys that think it's like everyone on TV. No,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not.
No, we're not Suits.
No, right.
I love Suits.
But that helped me realize, like, okay, there's only so many people I can make introductions for, referrals for, that need the attorney services, but really getting to know what all of the attorneys in my group do to be able to refer them other sources of referrals.
Right.
So, like, obviously you want to meet realtors and lenders,
Yes.
right? Trisha wants to meet everybody.
I do.
I already know that.
If you've ever been in a hospital.
But like, for example, Alyssa Tisdall in our group, right?
Yeah.
IP. But when I finally met with her and sat down and had lunch with her,
Yeah.
and we made a connection, I realized, oh wait, this is far more than trademarks.
Right.
It's complicated stuff. The patent, I didn't know that you had to take a special test to be, like that type of stuff.
Right.
So taking personal interest in people in networking, I think, is the big difference.
You know what I love about her and her answer? It wasn't about like what you do to network or market yourself. You immediately went to, how can I help all of these other people?
Right. Well,
which is a really great way. You don't give to get. You give.
Who wants to network and like create relationships with someone that is just about you?
Right.
Nobody, right? People would avoid my lunch call then, right? Like, no. Let's get to know each other. Let's like each other as people. The business will happen.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my approach.
I love it. That's why we have her in the group, because it's, I think it's so important, because I think, so I actually learned this from like the king of networking, and at like a big firm that I worked at. And he always used to tell me, like, if you network with people, make sure that you ask them, like, how can I help you? Right? Because that relationship is one that you're going to build upon, right? Because you're thinking in abundance, like, hey, how do I help Trisha, or how do I help Ciara get a client? And not necessarily in me, because now that's forming a relationship. I think oftentimes people, like, this is why Trisha and I always say we hate networking in the style of like a happy hour where people just pass out their cards and you just you stuff it in your bag, and like everybody just asks you 100 times, like, what do you do?
What do you do?
What do you do? And it's kind of like, you don't really care what they do.
So robotic.
You don't care how they're doing that day or what they do. So it's like, you're also not going to remember. So I think the importance is, like, the takeaway for me has always been like, I love getting to know you and like, how can I help you, and seeing you grow and like being a part of your story. And like, the reality is we're pretty loyal and faithful to our group. Ciara actually sells my insurance. When I started my own law firm, I bought my E&O from her and cyber and all the things. But I think it's important to really know how we can build upon our relationship in order for it to really work into what it needs to be,
And I think too that along the story or this idea that the business landscape has changed, networking has changed too, right? It's just, we are of the age group, I guess, that really just likes to do business with people that they like personally.
Right.
Like, it's just, you might be the best at something, but if I don't like you as a person, or we just don't get along, we don't see eye to eye, how great is it? It doesn't feel great to do business, or how confident am I in referring you?
Exactly. If you're going to refer somebody who's in your network to somebody who's in your other network, you want to feel confident.
Correct.
Yeah.
Not only that the service provided is going to be, accurate, but also that they're going to be taken care of.
Yeah, you're not a creep, right?
No.
Like, it's some wild times out there in these streets of like networking and going to events, and even that, like, I've kind of scaled back the events and chosen more like targeted where my time is worth spending.
Right.
Because do I need to go to a happy hour on a Wednesday night where it's 200 people? No. It would be more beneficial for me to go visit a lunch of one of the other chapters,
Right.
True.
right? Spend my time there versus.
And I think a part of it, I mean, at least for me, and this is how obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I think when you surround yourself with like-minded people that have similar goals and the community is the same. I love how Zalmi, I always bring him up because he mentioned to me in a conversation when we were doing one of our Zooms, he said, I feel like I'm more invested with people in this group that I've never met, even if it's just through a Zoom, than like meeting people on LinkedIn, you know? Because there's something, you mentioned this in your presentation, there's still something that you're never going to get away from like in-person interaction.
Sure.
And also from like being in a community together. Like motherhood is a community by itself,
Right,
you know?
right.
But like business
Dinks is a community.
Yeah,
by
that's right.
I want to be a part of that community. No, I'm kidding.
You are on Facebook, probably.
You know, but like, so it's being a part of like a like-minded community where everybody in Ms.Esquire is like, hey, we really want to see you thrive.
Yes.
Let's all go tag each other. Let's all boost each other's business. So I think that when you spend time in those kind of things where people at a happy hour don't have the same like-minded goals and are not part of the same community, so they don't know the drill, you know, of what it is, I think it's harder. It's harder.
Well, it's absolutely harder. And when you think about it too, like this concept of like needing to know 2,000 people, I don't.
Right.
Right.
I need to know 50 really good people,
It's good.
right?
Exactly.
So again,
Quality.
am I gonna spend my time with people that I already know, like you said, are in the same mindset, growing a business? I love the fact that so many of the members are, you know, have left Big Law and are starting on their own, right? Because they're also in that space of, they're also hungry, they're growing their business. We have similar conversations
Right.
because, you know, one week business is bad, the next week business is great, but you can
Yeah.
ride the highs and the lows together. That matters.
Wait, so I was just going to touch up on when I started my own business, I didn't even know, so maybe we can like briefly discuss like insurance. So I didn't even, I mean, I got E&O because I was like, listen, I was scared of malpractice and I thought that was really important. But maybe people don't know that they need it. I know we talked about this briefly, like people go off on their own, they don't know that they need E&O, which is actually really scary. And then also cyber is like a really big thing right now. So I actually didn't have cyber until when, like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think that's
I
when
got you. I got you one of
you
the
sold me
meetings.
2 years ago.
We need to have-
But you know, cyber is becoming a big thing. I do real estate transactions, and so we get hit really, really hard. People are constantly
I bet.
trying to hack title companies and real estate companies because we're dealing with a lot of money and transactions. So tell us about what happens, because I think this is important for law firms owners to know. Like if you walk into your office on a Monday morning and you have like malware, it's what it's called, right?
Ransomware. Yep.
Ransomware, whatever. Ransomware on your computer. Like, what do you do? Because we were talking about this, and I was like, I didn't even know I needed to do any of this.
It's critical to get errors and omission insurance before you start practicing when you
Yes.
go out on your own, because most policies won't go retroactively to the date you opened. So you definitely want to do that on the errors and omission side. And there's a lot of factors that go into play. Don't buy your errors and omission online. There are companies that will sell it to you online. They're not necessarily cheaper either. You're not saving money by doing it online. But there's a lot of important coverages that you need to have that you don't know because a machine is selling it to you.
Let's bring it a little bit more basic.
Yeah.
E&O, errors and omissions.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So that covers the attorney or employees if there's any actual mistakes that
Right.
happened, because they do happen, or even an allegation of a mistake.
Okay.
So it would cover your defense as the firm
Yeah.
to prove either that you didn't make the mistake, or if you did, just to handle the negotiations, and then any penalties or settlements or payouts from that mistake. So it's like me, I have errors and omission insurance, right? Anyone that's in a consultant role, in a position of giving advice to others, where people trust you for your advice, needs errors and omission. And so that's on that side. The cyber, a lot of these errors and omission policies will sell it as like a sublimit. You don't want to buy that. That's not real. It's not a full package of cyber. You got to get it alone. It's not very expensive. But cyber is one of those insurances that it's so necessary because it's proactive. A lot of insurance is reactive, right? Like something happened, I need to file a claim. Cyber is working for you behind the scenes as much as they can, depending on the carrier that you go with. And so the ransomware event, you walk in on a Monday morning, your computers don't turn on, you have to pay $100,000 to a machine, right? That's hosting or has your information locked. There's so much that goes into that that the average consumer does not know. Right. First of all, you cannot pay that ransom because you're negotiating with the terrorist.
Right.
So who do you call?
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Call Ciara or do I call the FBI?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, what do I do?
Okay, who do you call to call the FBI? Like, do you know their number?
Is
it 911?
Do we Google FBI?
Like,
Siri,
ChatGPT,
what is the FBI's
yeah.
number?
Like, it's so critical.
Yeah.
To have the backing of the experts when it comes to cyber. None of us that are business owners are expert when it comes to cybersecurity, right? So FBI handling payments, right? Like, are you going to pay? Did they take all of your information? Did they make a copy of your information? What about the notification to your clients?
Oh, wow.
You have to notify your clients, right? Offer credit monitoring. Who's going to pay for that? Your cyber policy will. What about any penalties that you have to deal with post breach?
Yeah.
What about your PR? Hey, guess what? If you're a doctor's office, let's say, right, that's dealing with sensitive health information, what are the chances that your patients are coming back to you after you've let the whole world know what your illnesses are, along with your social security, your weight, your date of birth, right?
Yeah.
There's crisis and PR management attached to it to save. There's business interruption coverage. What if it takes you a week to come back online and it costs you $400,000 in business?
Do you know how long the typical downtime is, or it just depends on the business and the malware
and the size? Yeah, it depends on the size and the business. I would say on average, I saw this study recently. I actually have it still open on my computer because I'm not done reading it, but the average ransomware event is about in the 40,000s of like cost to fix, not the ransom, but the forensics behind fixing it.
Wow.
So, I mean, even if you have the money, why do you want to give it up?
Right.
100%, yeah.
And then you need your defense.
How do we call FBI? What happened?
I still don't know. I would tell you to call your cyber insurance carrier.
You would call the carrier.
Yeah,
I'm like,
call the carrier.
What happened? So I'm like, God forbid that ever happens to me. I'm like scared to death.
Low hanging fruit. MFA. You have to have MFA on your systems, on your email. The biggest scam it's called business email compromise, right? Where people are living in our emails already. By the time it's happened, they've been in there. They have all your information for months.
Yeah.
It's not sudden. They haven't been there in 2 days and then decided to hack your email. They've been watching you, right? For example, Trish, right? We call you Trish.
Right.
If you got an email from Riza that always calls you Trish and it said, "Hello, Trisha," you would be like, "Man, what's wrong with Riza? Why is she calling me Trisha?"
She yelling at me?
Right?
Are we fighting?
Right? You would know that.
Yeah.
So they know to call you Trish.
100%. So I had a client where I didn't get hacked, but guys, I thought I was getting hacked and I lost my mind. Did I call you? I don't even know if I called. Anyways, but my client got hacked. It wasn't me. But they were obviously following him that he was going to purchase a house, and they knew my information and all the details, my assistant's name, Francesca. They copied everything. They put the email was exactly the same except for an extra A that even I took a second to figure out. I was like, what's different about this email? It looks exact, and the signature block, everything. Thank God the guy, because all my clients have my cell phone number, which I guess could be a problem, but in this case, it was a solution. He had my cell phone number, and he goes, "Hey, Riza, did you change your wire instructions?"
There you go.
No.
And I was like, "No, I've never changed my wire instructions. Why?" And so he's like, "Because I just got an email from Francesca saying that we changed your wire instructions, and I actually called Francesca to verify." So someone played Francesca. Different number on the signature block, and he just when he went to go input it, he was like, "I don't know, let me just call her." So you almost lost $1.2 million.
Oh my gosh.
And thank God he did not, because he had my cell phone. So we've done a lot of different things at my firm. Even during that incident, we had a lot of things, but every day I'm trying to think of new things because I'm like, wow, should we do other protocols? Now we text all of our clients and we're like, hey, we only send wires through this. Our text message will match our email. You must call and verify the last 4 numbers. There's so many different things. I mean, I go to cyber conferences just to figure out how I'm going to get.
You have to, especially in your line, right? Because of the amount of transfers that you do. But they've gotten so smart,
Yeah.
and they've gotten so good. That exactly what happened. It happens with payroll information from
so
like a
scary.
C-suite exec that makes a lot of money, emailing the payroll department, hey, I
Yeah.
got a new bank account, but I'm going on a plane, so I can't call you.
Yeah.
Can you update it?
Wow.
I have a client that updated it,
Oh,
No.
and it was an attorney.
Oh,
Large amount of money that
That's
was
terrible.
lost.
that's
So
unfortunate.
yeah, it's necessary to have those protocols in place for
which
sure.
is why I hire Ciara and I call her with all my questions. I'm like, friend, is this gonna cover me for all these things? And she's like, yes. I'm like, okay, cool. Just sign me up.
Yeah.
I'll pay, whatever. Anyways, maybe I'm like turning into your dad, you know?
Maybe. I mean, listen, that'd be great. You guys would love each other.
I love it. I met him when we
that's right,
went to
yeah,
the
to
Watch You
Spark,
Speak.
yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
it was so great to see your parents and how proud of
Aren't
they
they cute?
they
Aren't
are
they?
of you. Yeah,
I hope.
That's
In my
irreplaceable.
70s, right? I hope
Yeah.
in my 70s I
I
would
love
like
it.
that.
I love your relationship with them, but more so, I love you as a person. I think
Same.
watching you grow
Thank you,
has been
guys.
one of the best things, and having you be a part of our community has been like, especially for Fort Lauderdale 1. I'm so glad you've been a part of it.
Listen, I love all the chapters, but Fort Lauderdale 1 is special to me. I love Fort Lauderdale 1. I think that, I feel like the gangsters are there. We're just like, we ride hard. I don't know. You guys have a
The
special
OGs.
thing. The OGs. We're the OGs, even though Pat left and she is an OG. We talk to each other like that. Hey, OG. We call each other OGs.
That's so funny.
No, I think that what you guys have built is incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible, and I know that you guys work very hard. And building a community is very hard. I'm not envious at all, because I know it's very difficult. And you guys
But
have
you
done
know,
a great job.
we have this conversation often about how much time and energy it takes. But you're a prime example. I never would have met you but
Right.
for this community, you know,
Right.
and so I'm so fortunate to have you and those other people in my life.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Valerie. Valerie brought me in.
Oh, that's true.
I
That's
remember
right.
the call. She called me because I had met her pre-COVID, and she was like, this community that I'm a part of, that's great, is going in person. Do you want to? And I was like, absolutely. So I was super excited. But no, it's a special community, and you guys have done a great job. And thank you for your support and for creating a space where we get to grow together.
Yeah.
And not just our businesses, but personally.
And
so
celebrate the wins.
celebrate
That's the
listen,
best
you got to
part.
celebrate. You got to celebrate hard,
Yeah.
right? Like, so you guys have done a great job, and thank you both for helping me and stringing me along on this journey.
Full circle. We now get to have you on our podcast.
Listen,
you know?
if you guys want to see a really bad podcast, you can go to mine.
No,
they were my
you're-
first. They were like my third or
think-
fourth victims.
I think we were episode 10 and 11.
we got to be 2 episodes.
It was my camera shut off. It was rough. We called Chris in an emergency in a state of panic.
My
but
husband.
Yeah.
He helped us out, finish the episode. But anyways,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being our
Thank you,
guest
guys. This is
today.
awesome.
We
is-
love you. We're excited. And
I'd
we
love
can't
to
wait for
see
the
this.
future, because I know this has been year 4 with you since you've entered our life, and we're excited to see
I can't
year
believe it's
5.
been that long.
I know.
You
But
know how I know it's been long? When I see Asher.
That's
Because
so
I'm just
funny.
like,
I was
I knew you
pregnant.
for like a year before you were pregnant.
Yeah, that's true.
And then and so it's like, it feels like it was just the other day, but no.
I know. She's actually says that all the time. She's like, the entire time I've known you, you've been pregnant.
Yes, basically.
Just like pregnant and then gave birth, pregnant and then gave birth, pregnant and then gave birth. I was like, that's it. We're done at 3. We're done at 3.
But yeah, it's wild to see, and I feel like time goes by. So we're growing our businesses,
Yeah.
watching your kids grow too. Like it's a lot. It's an emotional thing. So
Anyways,
thank you.
love you, friend.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys.
for
Thank
being
you.
on here. And if people are interested in getting more information about you, the bunker, your podcast, maybe they just want to get insurance because you are the expert of all things. Where can they find you?
So on Instagram, I'm at Bunker Your Risk. BunkerYourRisk.com is my website. Ciara Gravier on my LinkedIn, and my YouTube channel. We're trying to raise the views there, so that's where the podcast is too, at Bunker Your Risk on YouTube.
We're going to subscribe to your YouTube for sure.
So for those of you who are watching the Ms.Esquire podcast,
Yeah.
please stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. And like and subscribe.